Hello guys, how we doing? Hope we're good, hope we're great. I'm supposed to be live as of an hour 20 minutes ago, but I was indisposed and not available for that. Or however, I think it's important for me to still go live and obviously get to drop the most important and necessary information. Because there are those who are definitely going to watch this and it's definitely going to be helpful for them. There's something I used to say that we don't predict, our focus is not predicting the markets, but to be directionally correct with the most possible margin, the least possible margin of error. Right? I said our focus is not necessarily to predict the markets, but to be directionally correct with the least possible margin of error. The least possible margin of error. And we've been doing this very well over the years, over time. But let's focus not just on how accurate Shifu has been or have been in what I've been saying right now, because that is public knowledge. But let's focus on what's been happening recently and what I've been saying recently. And one of the things I stated is the data we've been waiting for, the data which was lagging behind from the US due to the shutdown. This year, the government had the longest shutdown in the history of the world, or the history of the United States ever. And obviously, something like that impacts the market generally. And I think I've already made it give some little bit of insights and expository wisdom on how that impacts or how that affects how it impacts and affects the market, because every major voice that actually moves the market in terms of market makers, market movers, major pillars, banks, hedge funds, financial institutions, and the likes of them, every single one of them thrives on data. Every single one of them thrives on data. And based on data, they interpret and forecast, right? And that is the same thing Shifu we do here. We don't just come and say, oh, this is what is going to happen in the market, so times. No. Everything is based on data. And I highlighted it clearly. Jeff says, good evening, Shifu. Hello, Jeff. How are you doing? Hope you're good and hope you're great. I believe the winter should be getting very serious in Canada now. How are you holding up? Hope you are fine as well. So back to what I was saying. We're in a very sensitive period, right? And I think I highlighted the fact that every major data is going to be coming out as of last week into this week. Every pending data that has not been missed, everything is going to come out and everything will be out. So the question now is, if every single data is out, what happens then? What happens then is that market analysts, those who make investment decisions, trading decisions on behalf of major parastatals, and those who move the markets will begin to make decisions based on available data. Based on available data. However, the decisions are going to start this December into January, which will definitely reflect on the market. But there's a reason why I say the most important event for 2025 crypto's last leg. And the reason I'm saying this is because tomorrow is the 18th, right? I should have just done this live stream maybe tomorrow or next tomorrow, but that, should I say, takes away the points, right? Because tomorrow, the 18th, on the 18th and the 19th of 18th and 19th of December is the most important event that is left, which a lot of people do not know. But this event definitely has an impact in the markets. Because the last time an event like this happened, we had one in March 2024. Bitcoin dropped by 23%. Another time this happened was in July 2024. Bitcoin dropped by 26%. And the last time this happened was January this year, which caused the crash, which I predicted earlier this year, at the start of this year, when Bitcoin dropped by 31% after it happened. And now, this thing is why you see certain people who are bearish are saying that there's a likelihood that by December 19th, so 18th is Friday, 19th is Saturday, we could see that this could also trigger similar level of volatility. Now, you have to understand that it is not set in stone. It's more like a pattern that happens, right? However, what is this event? Now, the event is simply the Bank of Japan is holding their monetary policy meetings, which holds in 2 days. It takes 2 days, right? And why is the Bank of Japan's monetary policy meeting is as important as the US Fed's meeting, which is what we refer to as the FOMC and stuff, which happens to the market? But Bank of Japan is very important because it's highly connected to risky assets. And now it is not just the meeting itself, right, that causes the drop, but whenever they get to raise interest rates. It's just like in the US Fed, when interest rates are raised in the US Fed by when the FOMC rates, when we get interest rate result during FOMC and it's raised by Powell and those in charge of raising the rates, and then we start seeing the dollar move up aggressively. And then when the dollar is moving up aggressively, what happens? Bitcoin begins to dump massively and all that put together. All right. Now, that same way, when Bank of Japan raises their rates, it's even more powerful. When they also cut the rate, it is also more powerful. Right? And most times when I talk like this, I give you room to go and do your own personal research. It helps you very, very well to gain even deeper insights. Jeffrey says, I am good. Yes, it is getting colder every day. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. I think I was in Canada last year, December. So it's crazy. The cold in that country is crazy. It's crazy at this time. Zemira, good evening, Shifu and everyone. How are you doing, Zemira? Hope you're good. Hope you're fine. How is family? Hope. Bama Williams, GM, sir. Greetings, Williams. Hope you're doing great as well. Hope you're good. You're fantastic. Okay. Why? Now, the question that's could be coming to our minds based on what I'm saying is, why does this impact Bitcoin? Number one, there's what we call the yen carry trade, which I think I've spoken about this like way months ago. I think I talked about this in January, but a lot of people may have flown over a lot of people's head, right? Now, the yen carry trade, what it simply means, it's the Japanese yen, the currency of Japan is called the yen, right? It currently offers, like, should I say, I think it offers the lowest rates in the world. So traders all over the world, not just Japan now, traders all over the world borrow the yen so they can invest it in stocks and crypto. And that's why you see that some of the biggest volume ever in Bitcoin, in crypto, comes from Asia. So people obviously remember when I talked about the principle of debt, how debt rules the world, how money is debt. When we're talking about the whole world globally in terms of where the most amount of money is being borrowed, obviously Japan, because the yen gives the lowest rates ever. And people use this to invest in high yielding assets like stocks and crypto. So when Japan raises their rates, the cost of borrowing increases. So people, what happens? People decide to now sell off, remove their positions, right? And then that means they'll have to sell off wherever they have money and stuff so they can pay that back up. And that affects Bitcoin. And knowing how massive Japan is, large in the global financial markets, most of the assets, right? So anything they have to do in terms of tightening reduces liquidity everywhere. And assets like Bitcoin, it hits them badly. So now, what does this mean, or what I'm saying now? What am I not saying? What does this mean? What does this not mean as well? The last 3 times I mentioned, which I think which the last one was in January, what we had was basically a hike in price. And a lot of people are expecting that there's going to be a hike too. But the question now is, if there will be a hike, is most likely already priced in, right? It's most likely already priced in, and that is why you get to see the drop ahead of time. Traders have already priced it in, and when that happens, what happens? The yen begins to strengthen, begins to be strong, and Bitcoin drops, which we've already seen that play out. But now, the question is, what if the Bank of Japan doesn't raise rates, right? Like everyone is expecting. What if they are cutting the rates? Because so many people are believing they will raise rates. And this is where most traders get trapped. In fact, one of the ways you literally know what so many people are predicting is go on Polymarket, search on Polymarket, what is going on right now, what is happening right now. Zamira says, fine, very fine, thank you. Kingsley in the good evening, Shifu. Kingsley, how are you guys doing? Hope you're good. Hope you're great. Hope you're amazing. How is work, Kingsley? How is work going for you? Community solution, GM Shifu. How are you doing, sir? How is family? How is family, and how are we planning to enjoy this weekend? This Christmas weekend. I'm supposed to like be so ready to go live, but I'm not even ready myself. I was indisposed, and then I'm just starting to rush and say that time has gone. So I just quickly, let me just come up and make sure I'm live. And I know a lot of people like seeing my face, but my face is not the most important thing right now. Okay. Now, back to what I was saying. Obviously, we can't really say there's going to be a cut. We're looking at the economic data available, but it could be that the markets could decide not to raise rates. And if they decide that they don't want to raise rates, what is going to happen is that we're going to have a relief rally. So if they put a hold to this, we're going to have a release rally. Because what is going to happen is that the yen is going to weaken a bit and it's going to stay so. And that's why those of you who trade, if you trade, what is it called now, USD you discover that USD is very bullish. The USD has been bullish since, especially today, right? And going to tomorrow, the USD is still going to be bullish. Now, and this is basically the fundamental in backtesting, because the yen is being weakened based on the global expectation of traders, right? And then the USD is having so much kind of energy, right? So a lot of these carry trades and risky assets become really, really easy. Now, a lot of traders are sidelined. So what is going to happen is basically sell the rumor, buy the fact, right? That's basically what we could see happen. A crazy short squeeze, right? A crazy upward move. If they do not raise rates, right? However, what is going to be the biggest shocker in the market is if these guys decide to cut rates, because this is a low probability. No one is expecting this. This is like a big miss and a big miss, and big misses and big beats is what really, 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 really affects. If that happens, nobody's positioned for it, right? It also means that Japan is literally looking at growth, right? Majorly prioritizing growth and stuff and all that, and it's going to be crazy. That means there could be an even aggressive rally than ever. We could see something really, really insane, like everything should just go wide if that happens, right? And so I'm leaning to not what the majority is expecting, because now if also this is three scenario, right? If they raise the rates, obviously what's going to be happening is going to be the down is definitely going to be it's going to go down. It's definitely going to go down. But the thing here is that it may not go down as expected, because everyone has been expecting this like weeks now, months now. So I believe the move is already priced in, right? So it's not like there's going to be one major thing that it could just literally just do what it needs to do. So it's very dangerous. And this is why, if you're maybe those who are like in the bull run group and stuff, I think I give a trade and I'm like, no one should enter the trade yet. Nobody should just leave it, because it's still gonna dingo down, go dingo down, go dingo down, go, and that's how the market's gonna be until the 19th. That means it's in the next 2 days. The market's still gonna do dingo down, go dingo down, go. Whatever you're buying that goes up now is gonna come down. Whatever comes down is still gonna go up and then come down and go up and then come down and go up and then come down. Till then, right? Till then. So instead of us asking, will they raise, will they not raise, question is more like, where's a lot of people's mindset in? What's the majority looking at? And what do you think is going to cause the greatest amount of pain in the market? Because this is where market makers have their fun, right? Like I said, everyone is crowded in expecting that they're going to hike rates, which is bearish, right? And last time I checked, if so many people believe a thing is going to happen, that belief itself becomes a risk, right? What has been priced in? The belief of the majority. That's why we've had like this drop lingered so far. Whereas a lot of people crowded in the same thing I just mentioned. Now the focus is what outcome could cause the biggest amount of pain. One of two things: either the Bank of Japan holds the rates or cuts the rates. That could happen. That could cause the crazy amount of whatever needs to happen, right? So if that happens, any of these two things you're looking at happens within the next 2 days, definitely the effect will be felt in the market. This is going to decide the next move of the market over the course of the next couple of weeks of the year. And that's why I clearly did not mention 2026. I did not make a mistake with that. I mentioned just 2025. So ahead of Bank of Japan stuff and with a lot of the uncertainty in the markets, people reduce risk. Those who are the major market makers, they reduce risk, they deleverage, and a lot of them put their money into USD assets, right? So this causes more like a demand for the dollar, and everybody is chilling and waiting. Even when though we're in a bearish macro structure, everybody's chilling and waiting. So people offload funds into the dollar to see what is going to come out of the event before they start taking effect. But this is the thing now. Even if this is why I also believe that the dollar could literally be. So because even if the Fed is like done hiking, right, increasing rate and stuff, also that will also mean that the USD currently is yielding more than the JPY or even the euros. So, and last time I checked, money prefers more like yields, liquidity. So a lot of capital and funds will definitely roll into the dollar. So let me see if I can share screen briefly. I'm coming. I'll have to. AJ Victor, how are you doing? Hope you're good. Hope you're great. Awesome. Good to know. Good to know. Daniel, good morning. Shifu, more grace. Good morning, Daniel. How are you doing? Hope you're good. Hope you are great. How are you? So you can see this on my chart, right? So I had this zone marked as where I expected a buy from the dollar. And now this aligns with today being 16th, right? And then this is by moving up. But I literally, obviously, like I said, this is definitely going to be a sell then, and this is like the monthly target, right? I expect dollar to clear 97.3 as a monthly target area. But however, because of the events coming up and what I'm saying, we're seeing this is what we're seeing displayed on the chart in real time. So this could easily just buying up and then now if what I'm saying or what we're looking out for, if any of these two things happens on Saturday, which is 19th, knowing fully well that the US market closes by Friday, we will not see the impact of that event on Saturday until the Monday, right? Crypto runs all through, so crypto is going to do what it wants to do. But I'm referring to, let's say, in the DXY now on the dollar. So we could see this get to this point and then obviously find its level, right? Post markets and stuff and whatnot. So if you look at the now, what is happening, it's obviously people are de-risking, buying the dollar, looking at what is going to come out of the event. And after clarity comes out within the next 2 days, more regards policy, everything regards policy will be resolved. People start redeploying capital and liquidity across risky appetites. And what happens is basically as it should be. For those of you who are traders, right? You trade currencies. One thing I think I've stated is currencies move on relative surprise, not absolute direction. That is why when you can literally just trade asset like, let's say, gold and stuff and stocks with based on certain patterns, but when it comes to currencies, they move on relative surprise, not absolute direction. So even the dollar USD can rise when fundamentals are weak, but what matters is as long as an alternative looks riskier in the short term, right? And once that risk has been passed, what happens is that trend realigns itself. So if you look at everything I've stated, as regard what is to happen in the next 2 days, and 3 scenarios that happens in the market. And based on those 3 scenarios that happens in the market, which is one, what majority are expecting, which I'm not tilting towards, I don't expect that to happen, right? And that is them increasing the rate, hiking the rate, right? But even if it's to happen, then it means the market has been priced in already so far with the kind of drop we've been seeing in the past couple of weeks towards this happening, right? And then two, so just like, for example, if you look at the chart, if you look at the chart, let's go to crypto. You can see that something that was just buying, right? All of a sudden it's moving down, right? You see all that happening. This is even here, what is buying is coming down aggressively. So when you look at all this, it's basically because of the fundamental. Somebody who doesn't know what I'm saying now is going to be confused. You're trying to force the market, trying to force a trade. You're going to be dealt with badly. You want to chill, right? You want to chill, you want to wait, you want to watch out. 18th is Friday, 19th is Saturday. So when you set up, in fact, if you can monitor the policy meeting of the Bank of Japan, what is being said on Friday will give traders some level of ideas of what is going to happen on Saturday, which is the 19th. So keep your kids ready, keep your eyes alert, and do not be taken by surprise, right? So if that which I'm saying is not going to happen, then the other two is what is going to happen. And I've already explained how that is going to positively impact the market and how that's going to affect a relief rally for the last part of this year when that happens. So you want to keep your eye for that, and then hopefully have a very good, enjoyable, and sweet Christmas season this time of the year with this expectation, having this level of insight and clarity and understanding. Bye for now, everyone, and have an amazing, amazing evening, morning, afternoon, and day ahead, as well as an amazing weekend as we look forward to that happen. So I don't have any plans of maybe doing any form of live streaming any longer again for the rest of the year. But if what we are saying or what we're looking at happens and as expected, as I just did now, then just maybe I may decide to stay hop on one more time, maybe on Sunday Eve or Monday Eve, after this has happened between Friday, Saturday, and definitely we see how that impacts the market and how we take advantage of it. Bye for now, everyone, and have an amazing time, guys.